So let's take a look a little bit at what the OmicsLogic portal will show you as you consider joining this upcoming program. So once you have registered on this portal, the OmicsLogic portal, you will see here a number of different resources that we will leverage in this upcoming program. And this includes different research project examples, processing tools for big data analysis that you will gain access to throughout our server portal, which is a server for big data analysis, different coding exercises that will allow you to take process data, perform data exploration, data visualization, and analysis, and looking at different kind of case studies that show how these different methods are applied to different types of research questions so that we can answer them in a data-driven way. So first of all, there are many different applications, including oncology, infectious diseases, neuroscience, and agriculture. And in each one of these categories, we will take examples of projects where you can understand the specifics of the data that is being generated and the specific questions that are being asked. The first challenge that we will overcome is the challenge of big data. And there we will utilize the user-friendly and logical user pipeline builder that will allow us to do sequence alignment, analysis of gene expression data, or even analysis of the microbiome to structure that data and prepare it for analysis. Then we will proceed to look at different types of coding languages like Python and R to understand how to load that data, explore, and analyze that data in a meaningful way. So let me give you an example of what that looks like. If you go right here to the Courses tab, you will find here a number of examples for what I am describing here. So you can see different types of projects that we will give you access to, and you will see some examples of the coursework that you can take a look at when you subscribe to the program. So let's take a look at some of these examples by looking at this course called Introduction to Data Science in R. And I will paste this link in the chat. Okay, so here, once you have reached this page, you will see some examples of different lessons that we will go through, including how to load data and check for different types of variables, how to visualize data using basic and more advanced methods, how to explore data using tools like principal component analysis and visualization of different statistical relationships, how to perform kind of specific methods like differential gene expression, clustering, k-means, and hierarchical clustering, some examples of unsupervised machine learning, how to perform classification with random forest and other types of methods, and all the way to an understanding of how different statistical tests can help us extract meaningful features from our data and interpret them in a biological way. So you will find these different examples. These are courses that are free, that you can try for free even before you join the program. And then some of the more advanced methods that are highlighted here with a star, you can use once you either get an asynchronous subscription, which is very affordable, or proceeding to look at some of our programs. So the programs that we offer, this is an example of a program where you will be guided by mentors that are experienced in a particular domain and explain specifics of how this data is applied to different examples. So the benefit of joining a program is not only gaining access to the different resources that you are seeing here on the screen, but also being able to interact with the mentor and the participants of the full program. And once you interact with them, to be able to schedule a session with that mentor, to have one-on-one mentoring with that person, also being able to interact with other participants of the program by joining the Slack channel. And so here you will see a program overview. So this is a link to the specific program that we are starting on June 14th. So you can see right here, starting on June 14th. You can see a little overview of this program right here in the video. Here are the different sessions that Mohit will describe in just a few minutes. And then as you scroll down, you see some of the access that will be provided as a part of this program training. So you will combine asynchronous materials and in-person sessions that are described there. Now, many of you are probably wondering what are the different options and how to complete your registration. And so for that, I want to make sure that we can answer all of the questions in the next maybe 30 or 45 minutes of this webinar and explain anything that you will need to know to gain the most benefit out of this program. But before we do, and before I pass on my part of the session to the next speaker, so Nalika, if you could start the poll so that we can get to know some of the participants in this webinar today.
Yes, sure, Ilya. Thank you so much. So I've just started the poll. I've got 3 questions for you all, and I would want you to answer these so we can know you better. The first question is, what is your educational background? Graduation, post-graduation, PhD or postdoc? And my second question is, what are your research interests? And the third one is, what is the reason you are interested to attend the training? This poll would be on for more 2 minutes, and I request you all to please answer the questions. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Now, all of you that have already answered this question or this poll, I want to invite many of you that are interested in learning some of these tools. I see that many of you are interested in many different aspects of the program, including learning how to code, gaining advanced understanding of machine learning and deep learning, receive a certificate, mentorship, and all of the above. So I see that the majority right now, all of the above. Okay, and so before I answer some of the questions in the chat, which I will do in just a few minutes, for those of you that have completed the poll, I want to connect with all of you in a professional way on social media. And so what I would like to ask is that all of you join our group on LinkedIn, which is a group where you can find a lot of the mentors that we have, as well as a lot of the participants of previous programs. So if you could please join this group called OmicsLogic. That will allow you to see some of the information that we will have about upcoming sessions, opportunities to join different types of research fellowships and internships that are available over the summer, and also interact with professionals that will be mentoring this program, and potentially you could benefit from getting to know in the course of the next program. So a great resource that is beyond the training, obviously free. And if I could ask Sonalika that you also post the link to the Facebook group as well. Okay, so let me now go through some of the questions that are in the chat and make sure that I answer those as well. So I see a lot of questions here about certification and different types of courses. So I will leave that for the later part of today's webinar. Dr. Mohit Mazumdar at the end of the webinar will explain some of those things and how to join, how to register, what are the different sessions, and how to get certification. You will get the certificate, and this certificate will be partly automated through our system where we track all of the activity, and partly will be also approved by the mentors that will be guiding this program. For those that are coming from computer science background, this is a very interesting question, so I want to just pause right there. So it's very important that many of these methods in data science are widely accessible through many different tutorials and many different systems online. And so that is perfectly fine if you're already a data scientist or an engineer. The question becomes, how do you apply these skills effectively to an area of biomedical discovery, including the applications to pharmaceutical and biotechnology companies, or clinical diagnostics and clinical research? And so the main answer to that question is that this whole curriculum is very project driven. So what we will do is we will introduce you to the different data types, but also experimental design and the questions that are being asked in the research papers that we leverage, so that you can actually apply the methods that you probably already know, but to the different data types and the different questions that are being asked, maybe in a domain that you're not so familiar with already. So VM Dev, hopefully this answers your question right there. Subarsh is asking if I could explain normalization in a few sentences. So definitely normalization is a critical part of preparing your data for analysis, because many times when you deal with different laboratories, different types of settings, data that is being generated in the different settings is affected by many technical variables that we don't have any control over. So if you think about distance, if I measure distance in the US, in India, or in China, it's going to be the exact same distance. But if I measure gene expression, that gene expression is going to be subject to the technical things that I have in my lab, the way I collected the biological sample, the timing of my analysis, and so many other technical things. And so to be able to compare gene expression in the US, in India, and in China, I would have to normalize them. And there are several factors that you need to keep in mind when you perform this normalization at different stages of the data science kind of process, right? So the process of dealing with that data. Okay, so about the timing of the program. So the timing of the program right now is going to start on June 14th, as mentioned right here. You can see the detailed schedule also on this link as well. And so I will just once again post this link right here. Let's see. What other questions? So I am a bioinformatics postgraduate and want to start my career as a bioinformatics analyst or scientist. Perfect. So Shobhita, having a bioinformatics background is a perfect opportunity to apply yourself to different types of industry jobs. And that's one of the reasons why we also recommend joining the program with these mentors who have that academic and industry background. And I'm sure that they will mention that in their part of the presentation. What are the skills recruiters are searching to shortlist candidates for hiring? Again, perfect question. I recommend also looking at the LinkedIn group that we introduced today. That's where we post a lot of these opportunities for industry internships, research fellowships, and also jobs. And so there you will see some of those questions answered as well. For those that are from a botany background, Saida, I think that's a perfect background because you're already versed in biological data. You know what the data coming from different types of experiments looks like. Now you need to understand how it differs when you talk about biomedical applications, and what are the elements of data science that you need to master so that you can apply yourself effectively in these new methods and applications. Will this course cover the interpretation and analysis of multi-omics data? So for that reason, let me briefly show you some of the things that we will cover. And these are related to data processing, analysis, and integration. So what we specialize in is the analysis of omics data and the logic behind that analysis. So how do you actually take a look at a specific data type and understand the logic of how it is prepared and what are some of the questions that you can ask about it. Now, in the context of this platform that I'm showing on my screen, which is what we will use for some of the sessions in the beginning of the program, you will see here multi-omics integration. And so for multi-omics integration, we will take a look at several different methods that are based on either unsupervised or supervised integration, so that we can understand relationship between features coming from different omics data types and their relationship. So we will cover that in one of the sessions. It will not be necessarily the exclusive focus of the program, but we will definitely look at that as well.